boy Prism God, and this is Prism God TV. All right, so let me take you guys back to like when I was like 10 to 12 years old, being young Prism God, right? So I remember going into my grandmother's house and like finding some of the rarest things. Well, back then for me, it was the rarest things. I remember seeing like Teddy Ruxpin, like ColecoVision, which many of you guys have no clue what it is. But, you know, for us older people, ColecoVision is like Nintendo, Super Nintendo, because it was literally the first video game machine. And then I remember seeing Teddy Ruxpin. I remember seeing like Thundercats and some of the old toys from back then that used to be my cousin's stuff. And I remember seeing this like green tin like in like this spot that I just felt like it shouldn't have been there because back then with my grandmother's house, like my granddad, he was in the military, so he used to have like a lot of dope stuff. Then my cousin being there, my uncle being there, like so many things are passed down from generation to generation that you used to find some really cool stuff in there. So I found this green tin that had some baseball cards in it. And me being a big sports fan back then, I love the Bulls. I love the White Sox. I love the Blackhawks, and I love the Bears. No love for the for the Cubs, but that experience back then was so dope. Being able to see like sports cards, and I remember seeing in that tin. I remember seeing Mickey Mantle, Johnny Bench, even some Ricky Henderson. It was so many other cards that I can't even remember the names for half the people back then because it was so long ago. But that was really where my whole passion spawned from. Just seeing like some of my favorite players on a piece of paper, and it was old. I'm just thinking to myself like, man, this is dope because it's old. I remember Cal Ripken Jr. and Nolan Ryan was some of the people I found back then too. So fast forward past that, I remember going to my first card show, the Chicago Tribune show, which was in Rosemont. And I got a chance to go to my first card show, and I saw some of the dopest cards you ever see in your life. Michael Jordan rookie card. I remember Sammy Sosa and Mark McGwire, Barry Bonds, Bobby Bonilla. Because back then I was more so baseball than I was basketball because basketball was kind of a new sport. Being from Chicago, all we knew was Jordan, Scotty, B.J. Armstrong. So that's what I kind of had. And I don't remember seeing and having access to basketball cards like that. I remember seeing baseball was the more popular sport back then. So that's what everybody gravitated to. And I don't think it was until high school, for me, basketball got popular. I remember running across my homeboy Jesse and my homeboy Ryan for my first card trade experience because when I got to high school, after not really being in the card industry for a long time, from 10 to 12 years old to like, I think at the time I was probably 15 or 16, I got a chance to do my first trade with Jesse. And of course he got over on me. Yeah, you got over on me. I just wanted to let you know. So I remember trading Ryan for his Michael Jordan autograph card, which may have not even been autographed by Michael Jordan, but we know that too. Yeah. So what we used to do back then is we used to all catch the bus. We'd take our little $50 or $100, if we were lucky, $50 to $100 back then, and go to a card shop on like 95th and Kedzie, which was right around the corner from our high school. One bus away. We'd be there from, I think we got out of school at 2:30. We'd be there like 5, 6 o'clock. I used to just beat my mom home. So literally I used to be at the card shop, spending all my money and hanging around the shop until like 6 o'clock. And there spawned my passion. I promise you I enjoyed opening up boxes. I enjoyed opening up wax. And I used to pull some of the coolest things. I remember back then I pulled like a Terrell Davis Flair Brilliant 24 karat. I think that was good. That was right around the time the Broncos won the Super Bowl. So like that was a really cool experience for me, man. Like just buying cards and pulling cool stuff. I remember I used to want the Michael Jordan slick silver out of Flair metal. I used to want it was another card. I used to want the Flair Michael Jordan hot numbers. That card was one of my favorite cards back then. Like I don't remember anything better than that. And after high school, in high school more so, I started to develop a passion for sneakers. So as I got my first job, I started working for Burger King. And in the wintertime, I used to shovel snow. So that was how I got extra income. But besides that, I used to work at Burger King. And my Burger King check, I think I used to make like $5.08 or $5.80 or $8. It was either, I think it was $8 an hour. That's what it was. I was working $8 an hour, and I used to pride myself off living at Burger King because I enjoyed making money. Me being in high school and working like 80 hours a week during the summer, I used to use all my money on sneakers. So because back then my mom, being a single parent, she couldn't afford to buy me $100 sneakers whenever I wanted them, $100 sneakers. So my mom used to have this rule: anything under $75, $75 was the max she spend, and anything over that, I would have to pay the difference. So I'm like, all right, okay, cool. I'll let you do that. But back then, because I was working my job, I prided myself on buying my own sneakers. I remember going to the mall and blowing my whole check, $300, and buying like 4 or 5 sneakers so I could be fresh to death going to high school. Because we didn't have, back then we didn't have uniforms. So I was lucky enough to be in a school we didn't have to have uniforms. So I used to wear some really nice sneakers. So going past that, when I went to college, having that freedom and that financial freedom to be able to make my own decisions, I gravitated towards the sneaker world. I really wasn't thinking about cards back then. And I think Jesse and Ryan, I don't think any of us at the time were thinking about sneakers. I think we were thinking about girls. We weren't thinking about the investment aspect. We weren't thinking about anything. We were just dealing with life. And my passion at that time really more so focused on sneakers. So I was one of those guys that would go camp out at a sneaker store for one pair of shoes that might be worth like $5,000. Or back then we didn't really know what they were worth. But I remember camping out for a couple of days just for one pair of shoes. But it was fun. And I think that back then that was a camaraderie we used to have in the sneaker world. And it was just, I enjoyed having sneakers that people didn't have, the average person didn't have, which sparked my passion even now. I still love sneakers, but I love the card industry more now. So fast forward past that, I remember one of the investments that Jesse told me was buy Giannis. I didn't listen. I regret it. He told me back then, Giannis. I think Prizm base cards back then when Giannis was a rookie was probably like $5, maybe $1. I think now they're $800-900 raw. And if I would have listened to him, I probably would have been a millionaire by now. But there's still time. So, so first of all, I want to shout out Jesse, man, because I ain't gonna lie to you, he's the one single-handedly that got me, that introduced me to so much in the card industry. Even from high school when we were doing trades, to taking me to my first card shop, to introducing me to Giannis, which would have made me a lot of money, into getting me back into the hobby. So to be quite honest with you, after I didn't take the Giannis investment because I was dealing with life, I had a hardship in my life. I lost my brother. I want to say it was 2016. I lost my brother to gun violence, and it did a down spiral for me. I was always energetic, always excited about doing things in life. And when I lost my brother, it kind of put me at halt to kind of let me know some things like life is real, right? So a part of life being real, you got to find those, I think it's very important to find that joy. So I was going through a bad relationship. I just lost my brother. And I just remember Jesse saying, man, come to the car show with me. So I remember I went with him, me and my daughter, because I used to I'm from Chicago. So I went to Chicago, visit my daughter and my mom, and took me, me and my daughter and Jesse went to the card show. And I had the best time of my life. I single-handedly, I think I spent like $2,000-3,000, but I think that price was it was priceless to me. The excitement of opening boxes, people call it gambling, but I think if you enjoy as long as you enjoy it, do it. In retrospect, though, I wouldn't do it anymore, but but I really enjoy it. I mean, the thrill is still there. I think I just remember being 10, 12 years old, finding that those cards, and even being in high school, opening up my first box that I bought myself. And I think that excitement came back, which got me to the point where I bought my first case of Prism basketball. Best card I pulled back then, I think, was Jason Tatum autograph Mojo. And I think back then it was worth $800. I think now it's probably worth a couple $1,000s. So I think I did probably pretty well if I would have kept that card. I think I sold it probably for like $2,000 though. So I don't think I did entirely bad because I think I 9.5'd it. So, hey, that wasn't a bad investment long term. But I remember going to my first card show after I bought that case, and I had all these nice cards accumulated from December to the first show I went to in Rosemont. And I remember running into this kid and it was just like, man, hey, you got some really nice stuff. Do you have an Instagram? And I'm like, no. You use Instagram for cards? It's like, yeah. And I'm like, oh, okay. So literally that day, Prism God was born. I had no idea. I collected nothing else, so Prism had to be in my name because that's all I really bought, and I still enjoy buying. And that day, Prism God was born. I literally created my account after that show, posted like 4 or 5 pictures. I think I got like almost 100 followers like the first day, and I kept going. I did cards for about a year and a half, from 2017 to 2018. I kind of took a short break because, like I said, I was dealing with a bad relationship, and I kind of had to figure out. I had a business that I wasn't really happy doing, and I had, dealing with bad relationships. I had to make some real choices, and to me, my happiness meant more to me than anything. And that's what I did. I got back into my happy place. I started focusing on cards. I went so gung-ho about cards, and man, all I can say is Prism God is born. So I want to thank you guys for just that experience on just learning with me and growing with me. And I promise you, I'm going to give you more content. I'm going to go do shows. We're going to talk about anything you want to talk about. BGS, PSA. I'm going to keep it so real with you and raw and uncut. We can make money together. We can invest with each other. I have like so many people who hit me up in my inbox asking me questions about many different things. Feel free to continue to do those things. I will always answer. I'm pretty, transparent. So I want to say thank you guys. And this is episode 1. Peace.